You got to make that noise. The key is the tss. It doesn't even matter what you're boxing. It doesn't even matter what the hell you're doing. It doesn't even matter if it's completely wrong. If you're just tss, 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 then people are like, this guy knows how to box. Be careful of this guy. If I'm at a bar and all of a sudden the side of the bar, things are about to go down and you see me on the side there, just tss, 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 everybody's like, yeah, we're not messing with that dude. We're not messing with that dude. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Monday, December 16th. I'm a little winded. For the record, it was 7:59 when I started. So I just want everybody to know that's how I wanted to get my week started. I said to myself, I'm ready to go. Let's get this damn thing started. Thank you for being here. This is the Sliwa Show, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., around 9 a.m. You know, on YouTube, we kind of pick and choose when the hell we want to get out of here. We pick and choose how long we want the show to be. Thank you for being a part of the show. I hope everybody's grabbing their cup of joe. I got a new mug. Show everybody my new mug here, okay? This is Mountain Coffee in Lake Arrowhead. I think I've mentioned Lake Arrowhead a couple different times. Badass coffee spot. It's like one of those mobile, almost like a mobile trailer that they just made into straight up a coffee spot. It's great coffee, cool little place. I think I mentioned this last week that I was going to be doing more and more of this where I'm just kind of finding different local coffee spots. And basically 75% of my income is going to go towards there. These aren't cheap here, okay? These mugs aren't cheap. These sweaters aren't cheap. But if I can promote some local businesses in the process, then I'm going to do so. We got a lot going on in today's show. I'm going to get into the rundown in just a second. I first want to just take a quick second to say thank you for being here. There's a lot of different places you guys can be at 8 a.m. in the morning or last night when I'm doing the Lakers postgame show. So thank you for doing so. If you guys don't mind, just subscribe to the channel. That's it. I'm almost averaging, by the way, 1,000 new subscribers a month. That's phenomenal. It's just under. It's like 900 and some change, something along those lines. So if you guys don't mind, if you're here for the first time or you've been here on a number of different occasions, I'm right here on YouTube Monday through Friday. Please subscribe to the channel. I got a quote for everybody, and then we're going to go into the rundown. Here's the quote. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. I like that quote. I saw that last night, was doing a little bit of prep after the Lakers game. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. So we're going to use that quote as we get started for the show. All right, let me look at some of these comments here. People here for, okay, good morning. A happy Victory Monday. That's right. Lakers actually won a game. I know that doesn't happen too often. But yes, the Lakers actually won a game. Morning Slee. Got another one here. Got my Ethiopian beans from Heart Roasters in Portland, brewed in my V60 this morning. Go do your thing. Go do your thing. I will say that I went to, this was years ago. Years ago, I went to Tanzania. Anyways, long story short, went to Tanzania, took Ethiopian Air, had to stop in Ethiopia. That might be the best coffee in the world. Best coffee in the world might be from Ethiopia. Okay, before we get started, quick sip here. Quick sip here of the coffee. Take a deep breath, and let's get the show on the road. As you guys can see over here on the side here is going to be all the topics. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about Lakers over the Memphis Grizzlies last night. That was an impressive win. I really did. I thought it was one of the better wins the Lakers have had all season. And maybe it kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like if you really pay attention to it for a quick second, I don't really know what would make you think Lakers are going to be up 20 and never give Grizzlies the lead in that game. But that's exactly what happened. So we'll spend some time on that. I'm sure a lot of Laker fans, why not? You should feel good about last night's win. However, what does it mean? Big picture, we'll have to wait and see. LeBron returns. I thought he had some interesting quotes yesterday, and specifically I want to talk about LeBron's game. Here I am trying to give advice to somebody who's probably going to be the greatest player of all time or top 2, top 3. He's in his 22nd year in the NBA, and this idiot's got some advice for him. I do want to talk about LeBron coming back and what that looks like. There were some moments in yesterday's game where I'm like, yeah, that can work. And there's been some times watching this year, it's like, Bron, you got to adjust as well. So we'll spend a little bit of time on LeBron. Dennis Schroder got traded to the Golden State Warriors. I am going to make a case today that whatever excuses that this front office has made in the past about making trades, that, you can't buy a home that's not for sale. I'm going to list out probably 7, 8, 9 different trades that have gone on over the last, let's call it year or so, where there's other front offices that made trades, haven't made excuses. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. That's going to be me, kind of going at the front office, going at Rob Pelinka a little bit. But really, the idea and the concept is you just got to go make it happen. This roster is not good enough, so nobody wants to hear any excuses. In-season tournament on Saturday. You guys don't want to. What was Saturday? What was that, the Super Bowl? Why was I setting my schedule around Milwaukee and Atlanta and then the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets? I am now officially sold on the in-season tournament. Somebody, I used to make fun of the in-season tournament, but I got some adjustments that I want to make to the in-season tournament. So I'll share that with you guys. What an NFL weekend. What a great, great NFL weekend. It actually all started on Thursday night. I know it wasn't the weekend yet, but it all started on Thursday night with the Rams and the Niners. Are the Los Angeles Rams the head of their division? What the hell just happened here? They are the head of their division, and they have a path to winning the division and hosting a home game. I got a chance last night to also watch Seattle and Green Bay. I had that game on while the Laker game was on. Got a chance to watch Buffalo and Detroit. I got some thoughts on the NFL, and then we'll do the weekend recap. A couple different things went on over the weekend. We'll talk about some of it being sports related. Heisman Trophy. Of course, Travis Hunter's the Heisman Trophy had a badass speech. I'll play that as well. So we'll get into all that. Thank you for being a part of the show. Grab a sip of your coffee, grab a sip of your tea. Let's get the show started. All right, Lakers over the Grizzlies. It's funny. I'm doing the post-game show last night. Where was I doing the post-game show? Well, thank you for asking. I appreciate you asking. I was doing it right here on Hoops Talk. Of course, after every Lakers game, been doing it for years. I'm going to continue to do the post-game show on this channel. Love doing it, enjoy doing it, and love the interaction. I'm doing the post-game show. Listen, Lakers just came off of a win. It's not like we've had a lot to talk about over the last, what are they now, 4-8 over their last 12 games. I mean, can I get a free pass for one game to give the Lakers some credit? I mean, I'm getting sick of myself when it comes to the negativity that's surrounded around the Lakers. They beat the Grizzlies. One of the first things I saw, all the comments to the right, not all of them, but there's a couple comments like, well, they just won because Memphis didn't shoot well. Okay, all right. Well, if Ja Morant would have went off, they would have lost the game. Okay, all right. Well, they got lucky because of this. I'm like, damn, can we just enjoy one W? It's not like wins are happening every night. It's not like the Lakers are running through 2 weeks of basketball and you're like, that was a good 5-2 week. No, you're saying that was another 2-4 week. Coming into yesterday's game against the Grizzlies. And I don't want to overhype it. I'm not trying to make it sound like, watch out for the Lakers. All of a sudden the Lakers are I'm not trying to say that the Lakers are now going to go make a Western Conference run because they beat the Memphis Grizzlies on December 15th on a Sunday night. I understand that. But can we also just take a second when the Lakers do win a game and just point out what went well? Can we just point out that, hey, that was a good W? Can we point out that maybe that was actually good Lakers defense, not Memphis poor shooting? We should also embrace when a W happens because I don't know what's going to happen. They got a couple games coming up against the Sacramento Kings, both on the road. I know they got a game at home against Detroit. Then they're, I think, on the road again against the Warriors on Christmas. Before we know it, it's going to be January 1st. And this Lakers team one of two things will be going on. Either they'll be at 500 or a couple games over 500. It's going to be something along those lines. I think there'll be a couple games over 500. When they get a W, I think the fan base now is so used to losing, they can't even accept a win, a good win. Memphis is a legit team. They've won 10 of their last 11 games. They're, I want to say, second place in the Western Conference. Just for one night, it's okay to say, hey, I thought the Lakers played well. I will tell you basically what's the blueprint for the Lakers to get a W. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen every night. More times than not, it's probably not going to happen. But let me just point out what I saw yesterday that I thought, hey, that basically is how Lakers get W's. And, the unfortunate thing is they need a lot of things to go their way to get a W. They need a lot of individuals to perform at a high level to get a W. Their defense needs to be elite to get a W. They need a lot of things to go their way. Unfortunately for the Lakers, there aren't too many outs. There aren't too many predicaments and situations for the Lakers where you just kind of look at them and say, hey, even if they don't play well, they could still get a win. Not really, not for the Lakers. Here's how the Lakers beat Memphis yesterday. Number one, probably the most important thing, AD was unstoppable. 40 points. What do you have? 15, 16 rebounds, something along those lines. Couple steals, a block shot. AD was incredible. I don't need to tell Laker fans out there, when AD has a night where he has 20 points, 18 points, 12 points, 8 points, literally those are totals that we've seen this year, Lakers ain't winning. They're just not. If the best player on the floor, which most nights is Anthony Davis or should be Anthony Davis, if AD is not the center focus of your offense and he's making it happen on both sides, you're probably not winning the game. I thought last night Lakers fed him early. They fed him often. He was getting to the free throw line. It was one of those nights that does one of two things for Laker fans. A, it tells you, damn, how good is Anthony Davis? And B, it tells you, God, how frustrating is Anthony Davis because he doesn't do this. He can do this every single night, yet he doesn't do it every single night. But I did think the team, the roster, LeBron, role players, JJ Redick, I do feel like everybody said, give him the damn ball, get out of the way. And Anthony Davis delivered for the Lakers yesterday. That was one of the reasons why they won. Here's another reason why they won. They actually played defense. The Lakers offensively and defensively have been so bad over the course of about 3-4 weeks. There's some games where they're literally scoring 80 points, 93 points on two different occasions, being held under 100. And then there's also games where they're giving up 130 plus. Lakers played defense last night. They held Memphis in the first half to under 50 points. Memphis had 20 points by the end of the first quarter. They played defense. Go look at Ja Morant's stat line. Could it just have been a bad night for Ja Morant? Sure, but I don't care how they got there. They got there. Could it just have been a poor shooting night for the Memphis Grizzlies? Maybe. What'd they shoot? I think they shot under 40% from the field, something along those lines. They were not good from the field yesterday. But how about it was also Lakers, their defense stepped up. So AD is phenomenal. The team plays defense. And then I got another thing that happened yesterday, and this one actually is more geared towards LeBron James. I didn't feel like the ball stuck. How many times you watch Lakers basketball? I get it. LeBron, one of the greatest to ever do it. You want the ball in his hands. He's going to make the right decision. The guy's averaging 8+ dimes a game. There's a lot of times LeBron's dribbling the ball, and I'm like, what's the play? What are we doing? Everybody else is just standing around looking at LeBron. That's not good offense. It's the easiest thing you could do for a defense. Dribble the ball for 10, 15 seconds of a shot clock. Every head coach is saying in the NBA, sure, that sounds good. And then you got to jack up a bad shot towards the end of the shot clock, or you're trying to get to the basket. And then by the time you finally kick it out and you find somebody else, you're forcing that player to have to take a bad shot, a contested shot, end of the shot clock. I thought the Lakers, the ball wasn't sticking. And that is a very LeBron James thing where the ball is sticking. Maybe, and I'm going to get into, obviously LeBron working his way back from what do you have, 7 days off, something along those lines, which is very, very odd in the NBA to have a player out or to have that much time off. But that's another thing that I noticed, at least in that first half before Anthony Davis got that stinger. I think it was his left shoulder. The ball was moving. Everybody, is it going to Austin Reeves? Is it going to Max Christie? Is the ball going back to Anthony Davis? Is Bron getting a good shot? And I do point the finger at LeBron on that. There's a lot of times that the Lakers are playing, and all of a sudden it becomes hero ball. It becomes ISO ball. It becomes take a shot before the shot clock ends. It was nice yesterday to see that ball not sticking. Last night was a great win. They got to build off of it. And I really don't have much negativity towards that game because they dominated the game from the tip-off. They were up. What did they start the game? 7-0? You know the biggest lead Memphis had in last night's game? It was 0. It was 0. They didn't have a lead. So there's different ways, I think, to look at different Laker wins. If they beat Utah by 1 and Utah's a lottery team, I'm going to find something to bitch and complain about. If they, lose to the Atlanta Hawks because there's poor execution and guys make plays that you just felt like were lazy decisions, there's a lot to complain about. Last night, Memphis, 18-9 on the season, had won 10 of their last 11 games. I got nothing but praise to the Lakers last night because I did think it was a good win. But that is basically how you get a W if you're the Lakers. AD's got to be great. You got to play great team defense. The ball can't stick. It's a combination of all that. And you're going to need, outside of Anthony Davis to be the star, LeBron to kind of, fill in the gap from there. Then you're going to need 2-3 guys after that to all contribute, and the Lakers did that. LeBron, after the game, talked. I got some quotes here. So, talking about his foot soreness. So we know LeBron was out. It was odd. I thought in the beginning, I guess what threw me off was the Minnesota game. We know what happened, that the Lakers don't typically, most teams, you don't have, their schedule's been really weird. They had, I want to call it 5 days off. So the Lakers had played Atlanta in an OT game, and then I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Then they played Portland. So LeBron doesn't play in the Portland game. Okay, no big deal. Lakers are going to have 4 days off, so he's probably trying to maximize as many days off as possible. I think he was going to get 5-6 days. But then he didn't make the trip to Minnesota, and it was like, interesting. So 5-6 days wasn't enough for LeBron James. And then I just kind of kept paying attention, and maybe that was too, he's not going to have to travel, any of that stuff. All that stuff was going to kind of get out of the way. I thought last night was going to say a lot. All right, Lakers are taking on Memphis. If Bron doesn't play in this game, and it's at home, he's got a serious issue. Well, I'll read you a couple of the quotes that LeBron said. He said, "If it was up to me, I probably would have played. It would have been hard to keep me away from it. I have a team, and I got to listen to them as well. They look out for my best interest." Okay, a couple different ways to look at it. This is what he was saying in the time that he was out. By the way, Bron, 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists and 2 blocks in 34 minutes against the Grizzlies. He was asked about what he's been doing in his time off. A lot of rehabbing, a lot of training still to make sure that I was ready to go tonight. Didn't want to get too much out of shape. So he had Lakers had a 10-day stretch where they're only going to play 2 games. So obviously he took advantage of it. I had an opportunity to take more days and get my mind, body, and everything where I wanted to be for tonight, and it worked out. All right. Let me say this about Bron here real quick. Lakers aren't winning games without LeBron. They're not. So, they got no shot when Anthony Davis is there, but they're also not winning games if LeBron's not there. There's just not enough talent on the team, guys. There just isn't. So for those that are ready to turn the page and move on from LeBron, well, allow that to happen naturally, because if Bron's not on the floor, they just don't have enough players that you can rely on and you could look at and say, oh, absolutely. Yep, that's the guy. There aren't 2, 3, 4 other players that are walking in for the Lakers and saying, hey, LeBron's out, I'll take it from here. They just don't have that talent. But I will say this about Bron. I don't know how many games he's going to miss, but he has to miss games. And if he ends up playing 70 games, you're like, damn, this guy's still playing 70 games. Go look at all these other stars around the NBA. They're not even playing 70, and they're in their prime. If he plays 65 games, 60 games, whatever it is, they're going to have to figure out how to win games when LeBron's not there. All right, put that to the side. That's going to kind of take us to another topic about trades and front office and everything else. But there was one thing that I noticed with Bron yesterday, and it's good to know that obviously he was able to recover. It's very odd that there was this much time during the regular season and it wasn't an all-star weekend or something along those lines. But at the end of the day for Bron, one of the things that's going to be so difficult for him to it's going to be difficult for LeBron when he comes back like he did yesterday and say, I got to use all these guys on my squad. I can't hold on to the ball and dictate the way I used to. I'm not 34, 35 years old. I am dealing with a foot injury. There are times I could turn it on, then I could turn it off. Bron's situation is so much different. End of this year, he's going to be 40 years old. So in just a couple of weeks, he's going to be 40 years old. I just go back to the one thing that I pay most attention to watching LeBron yesterday. Let your guys help you. Stop trying to do it all yourself. And I didn't think he did that yesterday. There's been a lot of Laker games where I feel like he has tried to save the team, and I'm going to do this all on my own. Granted, I know there isn't this, crazy amount of talent on the team where he probably feels great about it. But nonetheless, I do think, obviously him getting some time off randomly there. If he didn't play yesterday, I'd be a lot more concerned, but that didn't happen. Bron ended up playing. So overall, obviously a nice win for the Lakers last night, and certainly a game for the Lake Show that you felt like any win you can get right now, whether it's a good team or a bad team, you take it. But definitely, against a good team, you'll take it as well. All right, let's take a look at everybody's comments here. Take a quick little break, and then I want to talk about that trade that went down between the Golden State Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets. Let's see what we got here. Fans just starving for good play that leads to wins. I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Could I say this about the product? I'll throw this question out to NBA fans, because Laker fans, NBA fans, whoever's tuned in. Let me say this real quick about the product. I'm going to take the last two games that the Lakers played. They played against Minnesota on Friday night. They lost. And then they won this game against Memphis. Do you know how many free throws were taken in yesterday's basketball game? 69 free throws between the two teams. Lakers shot 39. Memphis shot 30. How is that a good product? And I'm mentioning this because fans are just starving for good play that leads to wins. There's been already so many games this year where it's like, that's a bad product, or it's just bad basketball by the Lakers, right? So you can't just kind of kick back and enjoy whatever game is out there. 69 free throws between the two teams, and you have your reviews, and somebody gets elbowed. You got to go and take a look at the monitor. My God, can we let the game breathe a little bit? I was giving an analogy last night when I was doing the post-game show. I was talking about there's like 10 minutes left in the movie, and all of a sudden they keep turning the lights on. Why are you stopping the movie? Everybody good? We just want to make sure. Everybody good over here? Yeah, we're fine. Turn off the lights. We're watching the damn movie. That's the NBA product right now. So bad. So bad for that to be happening. All right, let me look at a couple more here. Lakers beat a healthy Grizzlies team. There we go. Now we got a couple people saying just take the damn W and be happy about it. Oh, I like this one. Peter, I'm going to come back to this. Peter, I'm going to do the in-season tournament. I'm going to do the in-season tournament. Peter says, why? Why? When the Lakers win the in-season cup, everyone says how it's meaningful and stupid, or it's meaningless and stupid. But now that the other teams are in, it has real meaning. Nobody says it has meaning. I was just entertained by it. But Peter, I will get back to you. I'm going to star this here. When you get back to this comment a little bit, because I do want to talk about the in-season tournament, but I can't do that before I talk about the front office. There's a couple of things I want to talk about first. LeBron played some good defense last night. Nick T, good team defense all around by the Lakers. Good team defense. I appreciate the Super Nick. I appreciate you doing that. But LeBron is not going to be known at this stage, but he did have a play. What did he have? The dunk. It was all over X, and everywhere that you look, LeBron had the dunk, and then he had the chase down block. It reminded you vintage of old school LeBron. Okay, one or two more comments here, and let's go. Let's keep going. Sometimes these mother effers got to stop fouling. Yeah, but it's okay. You don't have to make every call. Let's have the game. I'm gonna go back to, I think I mentioned this to you guys last week. About a week ago, Lakers played the Blazers on a Sunday night. I was at the game. Got a chance. You can ask questions to the opposing coach. Opposing coach, Chauncey Billups. If you're an NBA fan, you know Chauncey Billups' resume. That dude was an absolute stud when he was in the league. Think about the style of basketball they used to play back in those days. And I'm not telling you that we got to go back to that, but they actually played defense. And they actually let these guys play defense, and it was more physical. Today's game, it's like, you look like you touched him. There's a foul. Put him on the line. 3 seconds in the – I mean, like everything is just – there's just too much stoppage, I would say. All right, let's keep things moving here. Do you guys see this? You know what? Forget you guys for a second. I need coffee too. Okay. Who's got my back? Who at any point says, Al, hey, do me a favor, Al. Phenomenal first 24 minutes of the show. Why don't you get yourself a cup of coffee? Nobody. Not one person says that. All right, there was a trade over the weekend. Oh, Laker fans were not happy about this trade. They were not happy about this trade. I had my cousin hit me, why can't we make a move? All right, relax. Let's get into it. Dennis Schroder is going to the Golden State Warriors. Okay? Let me give everybody the details of the deal, and then, we'll talk about it from a Laker perspective here. Golden State Warriors have acquired Dennis Schroder and a second-round draft pick from the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for DeAnthony Melton, guard Reese Beekman, and 3 second-round draft picks wherever the teams are coming. It was officially announced on Sunday, so actually teams got a chance. They got a chance yesterday. It was Dallas and Golden State. After the game, Kerr talked about the trade. It's official now, so they can. Draymond Green talked about the trade. Dennis Schroder so far this year. I don't know how much Brooklyn Nets you guys are watching. I'm just going to tell you I'm not watching much. He's averaging 18 points a game, 6.5 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, and playing over 33 minutes over 23 games with the Nets this season. He started all those games. Are those numbers going to come down for Golden State? Sure it is. But I even saw something, Steve Kerr had something yesterday about Dennis Schroder that he's probably going to start. So they may very well put Dennis Schroder. This trade, he's a good enough player that the Golden State Warriors may say, stole this guy in the backcourt. He's going to kind of offer something that's completely different than the team has. Draymond Green actually had a couple quotes talking about that, how we don't want him to come here and play our style. We want him to play his style because we need more of what he brings to the table. So a lot of compliments from Draymond Green. DeAnthony Melton, by the way, that's the player for the Warriors. He's the one that tore his left ACL. This was a couple weeks ago, so he's out for the rest of the season. So the Warriors make a trade, and they go get a good player. Dennis Schroeder's a good player. A lot of Laker fans were saying, Slee, what the hell's going on here? How come the Lakers didn't go get Dennis Schroeder? I don't have an answer for you. I don't. I have no answer for you. Al, you don't think Dennis Schroeder could have helped the Lakers? Yeah, I think he could have helped the Lakers. What, they didn't even have to give up a first-round pick? No, they didn't. They gave up 3 second-rounders, but got a second-rounder back in return. So to just kind of simplify everything here, I don't have an answer for you of why Dennis Schroeder is a Golden State Warrior. But that's not the point of my conversation. And whether, Dennis Schroeder is a perfect fit or he's an awful fit, we're just going to have to wait back and see. I don't know how it's going to work out. But let me tell you something that can't happen for this year's NBA trade deadline. I want to say the trade deadline. Let me just get the exact date. I think it's February 7th or 9th or something along those lines. I'll find the exact date. Not that that's going to change the world. But let me tell you something that has to happen. It's February 6th. Thursday, February 6th at noon Pacific time is the NBA trade deadline. Okay. I don't know if Schroeder's going to work for the Warriors, but I do know that the Golden State Warriors made a good move, it seems like, in going to get Dennis Schroeder, and they did it early. There are some players right now, remember, you have to wait. There's some players can't be traded till December 15th. Some players can't be traded till January 15th. I think the 15th of December deadline allows Jonas Valanciunas. There's some other players on that list too, but Jonas Valanciunas being a player that a lot of people have talked about or associated with the Lakers. Here's what has to happen before Thursday, February 6th, 2025 at noon. Pelinka's got to make a deal. He has to. He has to. There is no alternative. Even if you get a healthy Jared Vanderbilt back, awesome. Even if you get a healthy Christian Wood back, awesome. Even if the Lakers start playing great basketball between now and February 6th, he has to make a deal. He's got to improve this roster. This roster is not good enough to go compete for an NBA championship. That's clear. It's clear. If you just pay attention to the Western Conference, Dallas, Denver's had the Lakers number. OKC looks really good. Memphis, I mean, we'll see. Memphis, Lakers have won 2 of their last 3 or 2 of the first 3 games they played against Memphis this year. The point I'm trying to make is there's no Laker fan out there that wants to hear these excuses. You can't buy a house that's not for sale. Prices are too high. Teams don't like making moves with the Lakers. No one gives a rat's ass what is going on around the rest of the NBA. Your job as president of basketball operations, you got to be doing one of 2 things. You got to, A, be trying to compete for a championship and using every resource you have to compete for a championship, or B, blow it up and start your rebuilding process. The one area the Lakers have been now for a year and a half is in the middle. It's the worst place you can be in sports. You're better off being the Utah Jazz or the Portland Trailblazers, where you're going to go get a high draft pick, where you could start selling players that you have and go get more picks and start a rebuilding process, or you're better off being the Oklahoma City Thunder and saying, we're ready to compete right now. What you don't want to be is where the Lakers are, right in the middle. They've been in the middle now for 3 years in a row. Since they made that trade where they got D'Angelo Russell and Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley and a couple of the Rui Hachimura, since that trade, which, by the way, was 2 years ago, come February 6th, what did they do in the offseason? Nothing. What did they do last trade deadline? Nothing. What did they do this past offseason? Nothing. They cannot go another trade deadline without doing anything. Guys, we see the team. We see the product that's out there. It's clearly not good enough to go compete. How many times have I said this over the last week? The roster is just not good enough. You don't have good enough players. I don't care if they're giving 200% effort. You just don't have enough talent. In the NBA, you got to have talent. In all these leagues, you got to have talent. The Lakers don't have enough talent. Let me list out for you, for those that say, or listening to the front office, I was there last trade deadline in front of Rob Pelinka where he gave the analogy of you can't buy a house that's not for sale. Let me list for you all the trades that have gone down, trades of substance over the last year, maybe year and some change. Okay, Dennis Schroder goes to the Golden State Warriors. That just happened 2 days ago. Remember when Karl Anthony Towns got traded to the New York Knicks? That happened in the summer. Julius Randle moved, Dante DiVincenzo. That's a blockbuster deal. Remember when Mikal Bridges got traded to the New York Knicks? Remember when R.J. Barrett got traded to the Toronto Raptors? OG Anunoby went to the Knicks. Remember when the Raptors traded Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers, Steven Adams to the Rockets, Mavs add P.J. Washington in a trade, Alex Caruso goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Pelicans trade for DeJounte Murray? How many houses are not for sale? How many different trades did I just name off with major players in the NBA where deals went down? There are no excuses. There aren't. And if you wanted to make an excuse before that, guys, the price is just too much high and I don't like our return, fine. But every time that you wait, it's like you're adding a little bit more desperation to the franchise where they're just going to have no choice and they're going to have to make a move. So whether you should have made a move in the offseason or you should make a move by this trade deadline, there is no excuse for not making a move. There just isn't. The excuses that I listed down, the teams don't like making moves late, you got to figure it out. That's your job. Your job is to figure it out. This roster, everybody knew this roster wasn't good enough to start the year with this roster. Okay, you did it anyways. Well, you better add pieces to the roster. We just saw another move happen on Saturday. I just listed out probably 6, 7, 8 trades that have gone down to good players. I'm not talking about some of the other, trades that have gone down or pick swaps or whatever it is, draft night trades. I'm talking about legitimate players, Karl Anthony Towns, DeJounte Murray, Alex Caruso, PJ Washington. I'm talking about big moves, small moves. Moves are happening in the league. And one thing that has not happened with the Lakers, they haven't had any moves that have been significant here in over a year and a half. So all I'm trying to say is this. The NBA is making moves. It's the Lakers that are not making moves. And that front office in Rob Pelinka, you just pick one or the other. By the way, if you don't want to make any moves and you just want to hold on to your draft picks, then maybe you should start selling assets. Maybe you should start saying, okay, well, are we going to start the rebuilding process? Because being in the middle helps nobody. It genuinely helps nobody. You got to either you're competing for something special or you've told yourself and you've told the franchise and you've told ownership, guys, I don't see a path here. I think this is the alternative path. But sitting in the middle does not sound like a good strategy. All right, let's see what people got to say here. Jesus, Alan. Relax, Al. Take a deep breath every once in a while. Nick T, thank you for the super, brother. It's 2 supers today. Thank you for doing that this morning. Kelly Olynyk would be a great fit next to AD. He could shoot the 3, pass and play defense. With Kelly next to AD at center spot, it would be a nightmare. Nick, let me tell you something. Kelly Olynyk, Walker Kessler, Jonas Valanciunas' name has been thrown out there. I've seen who's a dude from Nick Claxton. I've seen his name being thrown out there. If I could be completely honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what move is going to be perfect for the Lakers, but I know they need to make a move. I think everybody knows they need a wing. They need a guy that can play both sides of the floor. They need a big man. I think they're just sometimes just change to the roster might be helpful. I've made the case that D'Lo's the first guy that I'd be trading. He's on an expiring contract. Are you probably going to have to throw in some draft compensation? Yes. But if the idea is try to win this year and you got LeBron and Anthony Davis, Lakers are not I guarantee you Lakers did not walk into this year telling themselves we don't have a shot. Okay, then put all your chips to the center of the table. If you feel like you have a shot and the goal is to try to compete and win a championship, then put your chips at the table. I think it's impossible. This is just my own personal opinion here. I think it's impossible they don't make a move by the time we get to the NBA trade deadline. I think there will just be so much chatter, so much noise. I really, really think the Lakers will do something to make sure that they make a move in the front office will, but we'll see. I would have told you that last trade deadline, and I would have told you that in the summer. So I was wrong both times. Nick, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. FYI, next cup of Joe is on me. Merry Christmas. Blessings from above. Oz, you're a good man, brother. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you for the cup of Joe. I appreciate that. Oh, $10, that's like 3 cups of Joe for me. All right, 2.5 cups. I'm a simple guy. I'm not going to get anything that's too crazy. Oz, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being a part of the show. All right, let me see a couple more of these comments. What people kind of if they agree with me or not. The Lakers tax is real. That's an excuse, my brother. Ivan, who gives a shit? I don't want to hear that the Lakers tax is real. Go make moves. You think people want to make moves with Jerry West? You think people want to make moves with Dr. Jerry Buss? You think people want to make moves when the Lakers were out there trading Kwame Brown and everybody else for Pau Gasol? That can't be your let me tell you this. If people are worried about the Lakers tax, you need a new front office. If that's an excuse that actually exists within that front office, that means you're not trying every single possible path and way to make it happen. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of other franchises that have a lot more excuses than the Los Angeles Lakers, and they would be more legitimate. You're going to tell me the Oklahoma City Thunder don't have challenges in building a team? You're going to tell me, pick a team. Houston out of nowhere is now a competitor. Cleveland doing what they've done since LeBron left. Guys, there are franchises that have it a lot more difficult than the Lakers do. I don't believe in the Lakers tax. And by the way, if you got to pay a little bit of a tax, go pay a tax. That's part of business. Sometimes you got to pay taxes. Pelinka, my job is hard. Listen, I knew I was going to kind of go in a little bit on him, but this is how it works. You got one of the best gigs in sports. And one of the best gigs is because you're with a prestigious franchise. Let's see another one here. Mavs getting Gafford and PJ Washington was the best around the margin pickups in recent years. Couldn't agree more. You don't think the Lakers could have used those 2 players? Of course they could have. And listen, I know there's 29 other GMs out there. I know there's other teams out there trying to roll up their sleeves. But I think the main thing that I wanted to get across in this conversation, and we're going to kind of start moving on here, but one of the main things I wanted to get across in the conversation was trades are going down. Don't tell me trades aren't going down. Don't tell me this first apron, second apron, it's much more difficult to make deals. Don't tell me that, nobody's selling. Deals are going down. Are you a good enough front office to be creative enough to go make it happen? So I'll leave it at that. Pelinka tries to buy a $300,000 house for $50K. Ain't happening. Not happening. These days, you know what? You might have to offer $325. Go try to buy a house. If you've ever been in the process of buying a house, if there's 10 offers, if the house is listed at, let's just use that 300K number as an example. If the house is listed at 300K and there's 10 offers on the house, probably don't want to make an offer for 285. Probably not going to get it. Maybe want to go a little over 300. Why don't we go 325 if you really want the house? You might have to even go 330, 335. So there's my real estate analogy for everybody right there. We'll come back to this in a little bit. I'll read some more of these comments as the show goes on. See this? See that right there? See it? It's freaking rookie. Good jacket, bro. Good jacket. He sliced me. Guy sliced me. Having a little WrestleMania. This guy goes for the kill. Took out my damn jacket. Unbelievable. All right. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The in-season tournament. There was a comment here. I'm going to go back to it. Peter, in the beginning of the show, had a comment. Why, when the Lakers win the in-season cup, everyone says how it's meaningless and stupid, but now that other teams are in it, it has real meaning. All right, let me tell you a little something about the in-season tournament. I was watching the in-season tournament on Saturday as if it was the AFC Championship and NFC Championship games. Don't they usually do that on a Sunday? Both AFC and NFC play their championship games. And I sat down. I was like clearing my schedule. I'm like, okay, that's fine, Al. You want to go for a nice walk, get some fresh air? Sounds good. Hey, you want to work on some guests for the upcoming week? Sounds good. Hey, you got to do this. You got to do that around the house. Awesome. 1:00, Bucks, Atlanta. Anybody else watching? Okay, I think it's just me. At 5:30, telling my girl, I'm like, look, you want to go grab dinner? That's fine. But if we don't have a TV on where I could see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we're going to have problems. All right, in-season tournaments going on. Let me just tell you this of my thoughts. What's happened to me with the in-season tournament? I actually feel like players are playing. They're trying to win these games. I think there are teams now and individual players that are saying, like, you know what? I'll take a trip to Vegas in the middle of the season. Hell yeah, let's do it. Kind of changes the scope of the year. New York was trying to go. Atlanta was trying to go. Atlanta got the pass to go out there. Young teams like OKC and Houston. Hey, what can we learn from something like this? Could this be helpful for whatever they're trying to accomplish? Is there something that they could take away from it? I liked it. I also liked the matchup. I liked OKC versus Houston. I don't see that often. Guys, you guys know I'm a big NBA fan. Frankly, I don't need to see LeBron and Steph Curry anymore. I've seen them for 20 years now. I've been seeing it. Give me some new blood. What do different matchups look like? What are some of the Ime Udoka just went to Houston. All of a sudden, they're good now. Look what Sam Presti is building in OKC. I like, let me see what else the league is offering. So I liked that matchup. Some shit talking between the two teams. I like that. Here is what I will tell you about the in-season tournament that I don't like. I don't think it has anything to do with the Lakers winning the in-season cup and it was meaningless and stupid and now everything changed. I've told you guys from the beginning, here's what I don't like about the in-season cup. I don't like how it's forced. I don't like listening to broadcasters saying, oh my God, listen to the atmosphere here. You can tell it's an in-season tournament game. No, you can't. Okay? You're lying. You're trying to hype this up for your network. I get it. Emirates paid a lot of money and the Emirates Cup, I get it. I understand that. I was in the business for a long time. I understand that you're trying to hype something up. Stop forcing excitement. The tournament games, not that exciting. The elimination games, now I'm interested. 8 teams left, you win, you move on. If not, then, then it's over. Then you just go back to your regular season. I don't like when they're forcing, don't oversell it. Let this thing just be and naturally grow. I think group play, I really don't care about. I like the single elimination portion, like I mentioned. And do me a favor when this thing's done. Tuesday is going to be the championship game. It will be Milwaukee taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Can we not celebrate like it's a real championship? Let's go ahead and do no champagne in the locker rooms. And please, let's not put up a banner in one of these arenas. That's the good. That's the bad. So I don't think this had, I mean, with the Laker thing, I think the thing that made it look stupid for the Lakers is they fell off a cliff after they won. That was the problem with the Lakers. With the Lakers, it's like, wait a minute. Did these guys just use all of their energy in December for the in-season cup and then they fell off a cliff? Well, that didn't help the Lakers. And then you also had a franchise that has 17 NBA championships and Hall of Famers all over the place. Literally, this league was built off of all those Hall of Famers that have their jersey retired up in the rafters at Crypto.com Arena. We're putting a banner up there for an in-season tournament, for a 2-week tournament. It's those things that I think made it look bad for the Lakers because it was that franchise. So anyways, that's how I kind of look at it. And I do think at the end of the day, I did not have an issue with the in-season tournament this year. I don't care about the group play, but I liked those. I liked those last. What was it? What do you want to call it? 4 or 5 games where we knew it was all single elimination. It got interesting to me there. Ivan, I'm in. In-season tournament should get an automatic playoff spot. Sure. Maybe you say, based on your record, if your record is whatever, you're guaranteed top 4 if you hit this number of wins, or you're guaranteed a play, whatever it is, I'm okay. You can add stake to this thing, and I think more teams are going to take it serious. And you know who's going to eventually win it? A team that's already a good team that's going to make the playoffs anyways. Rookie got that dog in him, got a bob and weave. This dude got me, bro. Just got me. You know what's crazy about it too is I thought we were both at like one of the. There's certain times out of respect, there's an understanding. Both sides take a breather. So I thought Rookie was taking a breather because I was taking a breather, and then out of nowhere, this guy just slashed, took out the jacket. Freaking jacket. This guy, he plays dirty. I don't know what kind of dog you guys have. My dog will go for the kill. So Slee, what did you and Pelinka talk about in the meeting? Will he finally make a trade? I don't have conversations with Pelinka. I get hellos. Hey Rob, how are you? Good. And then that's it. Then we move on. All right, let's keep this thing rolling here. What did I have here? All right, let's do a little bit of NFL here. Let's do a little bit of NFL. NFL game or NFL games this weekend. Here's what's crazy. By the way, good weekend. Freaking NFL. It's good every weekend. What are you gonna say about the NFL? By the way, if you got thoughts, comments, anything I've talked about, put them in. I'll try to get to them before the show ends. NFL's king. We know that. NFL just does its thing. Phenomenal weekend as always. And I don't even care. Some of these games are close. Some of them are not close. But it started, I mentioned this when the show started. Thursday night football. If you'd have told me 2 weeks ago that the Rams are in front of the NFC West, I would tell you, it doesn't make any sense. Guys, they got Buffalo, and then they're at San Francisco. They're not winning those 2 games. Buffalo, we know how dangerous the Bills are. And at San Francisco, it's a tough game. I know San Francisco's had a difficult season, but there's been a couple things that happened. Number one, Rams won both of those games in 2 completely different styles. They dropped 40 and change against the Buffalo Bills, and then they win 12-6 against San Francisco. The offense wins it for them in one game. The defense wins it for them in another game. That's impressive. Very, very impressive. Rams fan or not, you guys know I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to the NFL. My team has a coward owner and left the city of San Diego, a piece of you-know-what. I got no dog in the fight, but I still love watching the NFL. Rams are in the driver's seat to win their own division. They could potentially be not just in the playoffs, but hosting a playoff game at SoFi Stadium. They now have the same exact record as the Seattle Seahawks. They still have a game against the Seahawks that's coming up. We all saw yesterday in that game against the Green Bay Packers, Geno Smith goes down with an injury. Who knows what happens to him? They got a tough game against the Vikings next week. The Vikings are 11-2. They've won 6 games in a row. It looks like a really, really realistic path for the Rams to win the division. Now, they still got to handle business. You still got a home game against Arizona. You're at the Jets this upcoming weekend. You can't really stumble there. So they got some work to do. Now, if they beat Arizona and Seattle, I think they win the division. That's it. They'll have 10 wins on the year, and they'll win the division. It doesn't matter what Seattle does. Doesn't matter what Arizona does. They'd have the tiebreaker over Seattle. Arizona just wouldn't have enough wins. So it appears that the Rams, you beat Arizona and you beat Seattle, you handle your business, you're going to win the division. Impressive. You know, I've said this before. I admire good franchises in any sport. In any sport. I admire the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of just think of teams that are always in the mix. Philly feels like it's always in the mix. Buffalo has been around since Josh Allen has been there. I know they haven't got over the hump, but neither has Baltimore. I admire good teams, good organizations. The Rams are a good organization. They got really good ownership. They got a really good head coach, and they got a badass quarterback. That combination of those three is what allows them to be in the mix every single year. I admire what they're doing, and it seems like they're in the driver's seat now. You know, job's not done. Like I said, still 3 games left. But they beat Arizona and they beat Seattle at home. They're winning the division, and they're hosting a playoff game. That's incredible. That's crazy. That's a position that the Rams are in. No idea what happened to the Chargers yesterday. As you guys know this, every week my favorite team changes. Yesterday it was Tampa. I love Tampa yesterday. Baker Mayfield, that's my guy. What the hell happened to the Chargers yesterday? They gave up 506 total yards and 27 unanswered points in the second half. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to make it because there's only 7 good teams in the AFC, and it doesn't feel like anybody else is going to be fighting with them. They're 8-6, and Indy is 6-8. Miami is 6-8. So they got a couple game cushion here to at least make the postseason and get one of those wild card spots. I thought the other games that were interesting from yesterday, I watched Buffalo versus Detroit. Can I tell you this? If you're Buffalo and Detroit, and maybe, you guys will disagree on this one. Ivan says 49ers are a great organization. You're right. I should have 100% mentioned them as a great organization. But I'll tell you what also happens in the NFL. If you don't operate within your window, that window could come to a close really quick. And it looks like for the Niners, that window has come to a close, or at least it appears so. But what I was talking about, so I'm watching Buffalo versus Detroit yesterday. I don't know. This is what I understand come playoff time. And this happens, 2 Monday night games tonight. Guys, we're getting spoiled, guys. We're getting spoiled. I don't know if you guys, every sport has a certain mantra, okay? In the NBA, it's you got to play defense, you got to grab rebounds. No rebounds, no rings. That's Pat Riley, okay? Got to have a star player that can take over a game. Okay, we kind of know what the blueprint is there. In baseball, better have pitching. I don't care, how many guys you have that you feel like is a threat to hit a home run or anything. Got to have pitching. Pitching and defense going to win you a World Series. Dodgers are a good example. Out of nowhere, when you didn't think they had pitching, all of a sudden, Yamamoto was unstoppable. Walker Buehler went back a couple years ago. Jack Flaherty did just enough. The bullpen was incredible. Even with all these other offensive players, they had a lot of pitchers come through for them. Don't get me wrong. Their offense is ridiculous. In the NFL, you better be able to run the ball and play defense in the playoffs. Am I crazy, or am I watching Buffalo and Detroit yesterday and saying neither of these teams are going to win a Super Bowl, at least this year? Detroit gave up 48 points. Buffalo gave up 42 points. Buffalo also gave up last week when they played the Rams. They gave up 44 points. Is Buffalo going to win a Super Bowl when they got to go up against, and maybe their offense is good enough? I don't know. I know team defense-wise, Detroit and Buffalo are not awful. I was looking this up yesterday. But at the end of the day, you got to get some stops. You got to be able to get some stops. And I don't think that, watching both of those teams play yesterday, there's some, play calling from head coach of the Lions, Campbell, that's always, I think that guy's going to hurt them in the playoffs. I think that's who he is. That is his DNA. I had JB Long on a week and a half ago or so. And I was telling JB, I'm like, JB, you can't just go for it on every fourth down. JB loved it. JB loved the aggressiveness. He's like, this is their identity. This is probably why they're sitting where they're sitting right now, but that will also be their downfall. I'm watching both of those squads yesterday. Give me Buffalo versus a team that plays defense in the playoffs and runs the ball. Give me the team that plays defense and runs the ball. Philadelphia or Detroit, give me Philly. They're going to run the ball and they're going to play defense, and they'll do just enough on offense. I just kept watching that game, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, I'm less and less confident about teams like Buffalo and Detroit because they just don't get any stops. Now, I know Detroit hasn't been that bad defensively, but they were certainly that bad. NFL, like I said this a couple different times. It is king. It was fun to watch. It was certainly great to watch over the weekend. But I'm watching these games saying to myself, what the hell is going on here with these two squads? All right, tonight, you got a couple Monday night games. Bears, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders. Raiders are 2-11. Jesus. The hell is wrong with the Raiders? There was only one other game that I was going to mention. Eagles are now 12-2, dominated the Steelers 27-13. That's what I'm talking about. Teams that just have smash mouth style of football. That's usually the team that wins in the Super Bowl. Don't forget, Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is, he's got weapons. They're very, very smart. They're strategic. They're not winning every game 35-32. That's not how they're winning these games. All right, let's look at a couple of these comments. We got the weekend recap, and then we're going to call it a day. Dan Campbell makes too many stupid calls. I couldn't agree more. Shanahan is better than Rams coach. We just keep running into Mahomes. If you ask me, Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay, I'm taking McVay. I'm taking McVay. Slee, how about those Bolts getting waxed by Baker? I've always loved Baker. It's always been my guy. Always been my guy. NFL on Amazon and Netflix makes a lot of sense. Paying for Sunday ticket is bonkers. All right, let's do a little weekend recap here. Solid. How'd the show already go? Couple things from the weekend. I don't know if you guys watched the Heisman. I did not. But Travis Hunter, part of Colorado, obviously. Take a quick listen. He wins the Heisman. I want to play this for you guys. Badass. I pull for guys like this. Very, very genuine in his speech. Take a listen to him talking about his pops.
I know you're watching on TV. Dad, I love you. All the stuff you went through, man. I look at your oldest son. I did it for you, man. All the times that you didn't get to see me. When the time you came to see my games. From not seeing probably 2 games in high school to seeing me on TV every weekend and coming to see me, man. I mean so much to me. I know you wanted to be here and you can't. But trust me, I got you. I'm bringing the trophy home. I love you.
Cool speech right there. Obviously, that's not the only part. Talked a lot about his brother and, what he was able to accomplish. Dion in the house as well. That was cool. That was a cool moment. I'm going to sit and I'm watching the Heisman Trophy. I don't know. That's not it for me. But what was cool is he's the first two-way player to receive college football's most vaunted individual honor. I'm reading this on NFL.com. Since Charles Woodson did it in 1997, pretty damn special. So it was cool to see. Obviously, a big-time player for Colorado. We'll see what his draft status is once he gets drafted. But it was cool. His boy Schroder Sanders, Dion, obviously the coach. Pretty damn impressive. But I love the speech. The speech is, very emotional with his pops. Obviously inner story there, but nonetheless, Heisman Trophy Award was given out. Couple other things that I saw over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. The Dallas Mavericks, who beat the Golden State Warriors yesterday. How many threes did they hit? If I saw this right, it says that the Warriors and the Mavericks combined to make 48 threes. It's the most in a game in NBA history. Klay Thompson, by the way, had 29, hit 7 of 11 from the three-point line. He goes back to Chase Arena. That's obviously where the Warriors play. But I just saw that. That's the first thing that hit me. It's like 48 threes. Be interesting what happens. I'm reading so many different articles. Yesterday, I was listening to a pod. Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright. Probably the two faces for Fox Sports right now. Both of them as good as it gets. And they're doing a full podcast on what needs to be changed in the NBA. Do you cap the amount of three-pointers that are out there? Do you give guys that dunk the ball 3 points as well to encourage guys like Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards to keep going to the basket and not firing threes? 48 threes between the Mavs and the Warriors yesterday. That's just today's game. And then the last thing that I'm going to make mention of just real quick here. I saw this a little bit earlier, and I was just kind of taking a look at it. NBA standings right now. What teams are for real? What teams aren't? I just, you guys tell me. Cleveland's 22-4. They got the best record in the NBA. They for real? I still think they need to go out there and make a real move before the trade deadline if they want to compete with Boston. This is Boston's league right now. I don't care if it's OKC that's in the finals. Everybody's chasing the Boston Celtics. Everybody is. If they're healthy, they got everything you need to win another championship. But I saw Cleveland the best record. Orlando, we know their situation. Paulo Banchero and Wagner are both out right now. They're 17-11. They're killing it. Will the Philadelphia 76ers turn things around? They're 7-16, and Embiid left last game as well. Kind of fascinating to watch the NBA right now. A lot of good teams, a lot of average teams, a lot of Eastern Conference. I don't really know what to make of. But that is my weekend recap. A couple things that I saw that were going on. All right, let's read. Let's see. Some people don't like Nick Wright. I think Wright's solid. I think he's solid. All right, let's see what else we got here. If you can make them, take them. The problem is too many people think they can make them and they can't. So I don't really know what the reasoning is for everybody to take them. They all think they're Steph Curry, and nobody's Steph Curry other than Steph Curry. All right, my people. Thank you very much for being a part of the show today. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. One of the things that I will tell you guys tomorrow, what I got coming up, Jake Fisher, who does some work for the Stein line, which is part of Mark Stein's stuff, also does stuff for Bleacher Report. Tomorrow's going to be we're going to talk trades. We're going to talk how the Lakers improve their roster, what players out there are actually potentially going to be available. We're going to do all that coming up tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to doing it. So thank you for hanging out a little bit over an hour. Thanks for being a part of the show. Appreciate you guys very much. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys don't mind, and we'll get back with you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.